All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Mind, Body, Spirit online meetup. My name is Liz Garcia. I am founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, and I empower and inspire conscious solopreneurs and small businesses to reimagine and up-level their online marketing efforts with some simple web marketing solutions just to get you off the ground. And there's all this hype online about everything. Everyone everything is hyped up. It's like everything is just meh. So my title today is a bit hyped up. Not necessarily though. It's how to attract high-paying clients by leveraging your time, expertise, and profitability. So I want everyone who's watching this video, not on live, to go grab a piece of paper and a pen, because I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and I want everyone here to participate and give me some answers, because we all intuitively know in our heart of hearts how to attract high-paying clients. So now that you have your pen and pencil, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and everyone here can raise your hand and chime in on this. And I might unmute you all if you want. Do you guys want to, or you want to unmute yourselves? Unmute yourself. Yes, okay. That's the big, okay. I'm a lip reader now. All right. So I want you to think about these things in a mindful sort of way, best that you can. And I want you to answer these questions for yourself and see if you intuitively or naturally align yourself with truth and power. And I'm now officially calling myself the trumpeter of truth, because everything I want to do, I want to be aligned with truth in consciousness and where power really resides. And power does not reside in doing, forcing, doing, forcing, and disparaging yourself and everybody else around you. That's not power and truth. That is not true. And it's forceful, and it drains your energy. When you're dealing with force, everything drains your energy. So I've decided that everything we do in marketing is going to come from the heart first, where there's power, and not draining your energy. All right, so here's the first question. What do you think you need to attract high-paying clients? I'm going to ask each one of you to provide something. Marie, you're unmuted. Do you have one thing that you think you need to attract a high-paying client? Hold on, you unmuted yourself. There you go.
Yeah.
What
Are
do
you saying you want me to answer that? Are you asking me to answer that? I guess I need a clear invitation.
What do you mean?
Well, to the person.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Very good. Bravo. Cheryl Murphy?
I wrote down, I need a high value service.
Thank you. Deborah?
I wrote down that I needed to place a high value on my work.
Yes. Thank you. John?
I need to hang out at the right places with the high-priced people, but I think getting to know them and what their needs are and exploring that is a very good way of giving them the message that I can be of service to them if indeed I can. So I think it's really getting to them and listening to what they need and what they find of value, and then finding a way of translating what I want to do with them into those terms.
Excellent. So John's willing to do a little market research, is what he's telling me, in marketing language, right?
Well, and also getting connected with people without looking like you're just sending out a very large mailing or something like that. Right.
Though there's a way that you could send out a very large mailing as well and have it be effective. And I'm not going to skip ahead. We'll get into that. Lynn, how about you?
So I put down having a system in place, which kind of includes everything that we've already talked about, but telephone funnel, landing page, whatever, a system that works.
Yes. Because once you get them on board, You got to deliver great service and be organized, and that's exactly right, Lynn. That's a good, thank you. I think many people ignore that step. And they may jump into something they're not ready for, and then their whole intention falls apart because they're not organized and they don't have a system. That's excellent. See, all I have to ask is for you guys to be mindful and think carefully, and there's nothing hyped up about that. It's all truth. So other simple words I came up with is a sense of self. You got to have confidence in who you are, what you stand for, what you deliver. Expertise is a good thing. Wisdom, expertise, experience, life experiences. Which is not to say young people can't deliver high quality results to high paying clients. Because when we're young, we're passionate and we learn fast. And we get results, and then we help others. So, sometimes you could think that you need years of experience for something when, in fact, that doesn't have to be true. Okay. Organized is on here. I did put organized on there, Lynn, so you called it out in a much more detailed way. Thank you. A large following, people might think they need that. It's not necessarily so if you are speaking from a high level of truth. And I have transformational results worth their weight in gold. That's all perception, though. And perception comes from different levels of consciousness. Some people may perceive that what they have to offer is not that big of a deal. But if you're helping someone at a lower level of consciousness move up, it's a big deal to them. So you can't judge, what you're delivering. You got to listen to how your people are responding to you. How you doing, Marie? I'm going to mute you while you're sneezing. Okay. Oh, it's dry. All right. So there's no black and white to all of this. There's different levels of consciousness and different people are perceiving things differently. And you got to realize if your heart is drawn to helping people in a particular way, but you don't think they're that, you're telling yourself, oh, that's no big deal, because you know it. You got to look at your clients and see how they're responding to you. And then you're like, oh, okay, receive the feedback. Make sure people are responding in a big way. Okay. So I'm going to try to dispel any thoughts you may have about how to attract high-ticket clients. So I'm going to ask you guys, have you ever found yourself in need of money to pay for something you really feel is going to help you in a significant way? It's a lot of money, relative, in your life, go back in your life and say, it's a lot of money. I didn't have it at the time. I really wanted what I wanted. And does everyone have something to share on that regard? Deborah is shaking her head. What did you want, Deborah? And what did it cost? Do you recall?
It was actually a diamond ring.
Ooh.
And it was, I think at the time, I was young. I wanted it very simple, circle ring with little tiny diamonds that go around the whole thing. And it was I think $1,000 at the time. And I was making, I think at the time I was making maybe $18,000 to $20,000 a year and living on my own. So it was really, and I was going to college. Oh, so it was a little bit of a stretch.
Yep.
And so eventually one of my professors at the time, and he was actually a fraternity brother, owned a jewelry store. So I went in to see his jewelry store and I put it on layaway, and it took me 1.5 years to pay for it, but I did take that 1.5 years and I got it and loved it for many years. And at some point I was led to give it away as an offering to someone else, and I did.
Awesome. Okay, love that. Marie, how about you? Do you have something?
Well, I was never like when I first got married, on my first wedding, whatever, we went on a honeymoon and I came back with $300 in my pocket. I didn't know how to spend money as a kid, but when I got older, well, an instance is I knew I needed to get a website person like you.
Yeah.
So I shopped around, I inquired about, you to some of the people on your site, and I decided you were the person to go with. So I didn't have the money to pay for it. So I applied for a credit card, and I decided that was my business credit card, and I was going to do what I needed to do to boost my business communication.
Nice.
So that's what I did. Yeah.
I knew that was a stretch, and thank you, Marie, for sharing that. And what's going on now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, people see the website, they say it's beautiful, but I'm getting a lot of people through the psychologytoday.com from other professionals that are sending people my way.
Yeah.
But they do look at my website and tell me I have a beautiful website.
Well, the point I want to make, and I know you have a beautiful website, I had a great time making it, is that you stepped into courage and trust. Mm-hmm. And you knew you had to put a stake in the ground and represent yourself the best way you could. And my feeling, because I've had a lot of clients coming through here now, they're all shifting, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take some credit for it because I love you, right? And I honestly love all you guys. And I think it's the power of love that's helping you guys shift. And I have no doubt about you, period. I don't. And just encouraging you to do whatever you need to do is opening up other doorways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay if you guys leave. I want you to get off and running. If I can contribute to that in some way, I've done my job. And I'm loving that. So taking that step to invest in this, could have been somewhere else, is still putting a stake in the ground for yourself and your business and being willing to be available and out there, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's what I just wanted to point out, not the beautiful website, though it is beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else want to share one of those types of stories about spending a lot of money on something you didn't think you could afford? John, how about you? Are you there? He looks like he's gone. Okay.
Yeah. Can I share one thing that I've done recently? And I'm in the midst of it right now and still I just in the last month spent like $12,000 on training. So one is a year-long program with a coach and mentor. Mm-hmm. And another one is with John Block.
Yeah.
And so I am, huge leap. Because first of all, I don't like to spend money.
I know. I'm not sure if it's going to have fun.
Yeah, then I can spend money. But I just don't like to spend money very much, especially when I'm not quite sure of an obvious benefit.
Right.
So I'm stepping out on faith right now and having faith in what I believe is what I need and what I need to carry the business forward and to shift the business. But it is super, super, super scary for me because I need to start making money. And, you don't make money or put money in the bank account by sending 12,000 of it out. Yeah. So I'm in the midst of that right now.
Okay.
But I truly believe it's going to be transformational for my business.
Totally. And we're going to get to that in a minute. What you're doing is powerful, honey. Big time. Faith is powerful. And faith in you and what you have to offer is in alignment with power. And it's going to be fun and easy as long as you don't go into fear and doubt. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to share one last example, and that's my own example. When I was right out of college, I had the opportunity to buy a restaurant on Nantucket. And it's a restaurant I had managed during college. And the owner's like, I was really successful for the owner. I brought that business to nothing to everything, from very little to lines out the door quickly. And then when I didn't come back one year after I graduated, the restaurant owner didn't want to sell it to me because it was so successful. And then I wasn't there, and then it crashed because there was no transition. You know, it was a pretty challenging place to run, and there was no transition team in place to take hold of it. So the year after it crashed, the owner's like, I don't want this thing. I'm like, no kidding. So I was 23, I think, and he was asking $75,000 for the restaurant. I didn't have $75,000. I was just out of college. I had, college debt. But I wasn't going to ask my parents. I talked to my parents about it. We got some advice on the value and whether it was worth it. And I didn't want to ask my parents for money because I have 4 siblings that are all in college. I couldn't ask them. That's, I couldn't do that. And I didn't want to risk their money for something I was going to do. So anyway, I ended up buying the restaurant without their help. The owner ended up co-signing loans for me every year. I got loans that I needed every year. As a 23-year-old kid, I got $75,000. Woohoo! So the point of this conversation is, if you have a high-ticket item, get out of your own way. Okay? Put the price on it that you feel is in alignment with the value you're delivering and the results that you give and the whole process that you put people through. And once you get in alignment with that, you're going to feel your value shift. And that happened to me last week. I'm like, whoa. It had to do with this personal branding thing that's coming up. I was going to do it for $300. Then I realigned everything I'm doing. I'm like, no. The whole value. I'm like, no, this is way too valuable what I'm doing to give it away for $300. No way. I'm not doing it. And people that are interested in making serious transformations, it's been shown, when they invest more in the process, they show up to be a part of the process, right? Anything less, and they're like, it doesn't matter. $300 doesn't matter. I'm not into it, blah, blah, blah. But when you're like, all right, I'm going to invest $5,000 in this, or with John, it was $3,500. You're going to show up, right? You're going to learn and you're going to grow and you're going to be forced to, like in this personal branding thing, you're going to have to come into courage. And you got to face yourself and you got to clean out your own swamp, so to speak, right? You got to clean up the thoughts and the beliefs and everything that's going on in your own consciousness. So, next question, and this is a marketing myth, I think, that a lot of people might be living with. Do all high-paying clients need to be wealthy? Right? All right, I'm going to unmute everyone for a second. Where is everybody? I want to hear everyone's unmuted about that. Did I help shift that belief? Deborah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, no, clearly, when I think about my college day, and that was, a big jump for me, if it was something I really, really wanted and felt like there was a value to, I'm going to pay for it, even if I don't have any money. So I think you don't have to be wealthy. Well, clearly I'm not, and I just spent more than I need to, or than I feel comfortable with. So no, I don't think so at all.
Okay. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Hey, Barbara.
Hey, so here's what I know for sure.
I love that.
The smaller the profit margin for whatever the business, the more burden is on the support services to prove ROI. If there's a comfortable profit margin, then business owners are much more likely to reinvest money they feel they have extra in their business. If it's a small margin, they will listen to you, but the burden of proving ROI is much stronger on you. So it's a two-sided coin. They don't have to be wealthy in the sense that they've got money they can, piss away if something gets up. But I find that careful business people, especially those who are on the way up, who are in their growth and development phase, are much more exacting for proof. And I say this as a writer. I've had at least 2 clients who were in that situation. And they were like, I think you do good work. I want your stuff. But for me to continue, you have to show me how this is coming back to me.
Right.
And it wasn't personal and it wasn't an insult. It was
No.
just the reality of their situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So in marketing, you can target hot, affluent clients for sure. And I think there's a fine line between, targeting an affluent client who they may be so affluent that they can throw the money and not be invested in it too. So there's a fine line. So you can have a target market that is young and doesn't necessarily have the money. And I have so many people I come across, clients and friends alike, that say they don't have the money, but they invest in big things for their own transformation. If people want their own transformation, they're willing to invest in it. All right. So today's topic is, what are key things to attracting high ticket clients? And we spoke about the significance of archetypes in branding a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And I'm reading all about that. And it's such a powerful place to align yourself. And I'm going to mute. Someone's like all kinds of noisy here. Mute all. All right. All right. I had to mute you guys. It's kind of noisy. And I'm not going to go into that again here. But when you know who you are and you know what archetype is part of your DNA, and you can go take a test at archetypes.com. It's a fun little test. I've taken a lot of different archetype tests, and I come up with the same archetype every time. So essentially what I'm asking you to do to attract a high-ticket client is you've got to be aligned with your strong suit. And the archetype of you is your strong suit. So that's where power and alignment exists, because you're being true to yourself. That's one thing. And I'm not going to go into that again today. I just want to bring it up. Other things to keep in mind are when you align yourself with a win-win situation in whatever you're offering. And I hear people talking about, they want to attract high-ticket clients. They want to make $500 an hour. And it's all one-sided conversation when I hear this. It doesn't sound like win-win. And consciousness knows truth. You can't lie. Every thought, every belief, every action is recorded in consciousness, and Dr. Hawkins has proven that to be true. It's like the Akashic records exist. Everything that has ever thought, ever has been, anything, belief, thought, feeling, action, is recorded in consciousness as your own kind of karmic inheritance, right? But you don't want to be afraid of that. Clean up your act, and then you don't have to be afraid of that. And God and love is true, and they get you are who you are. You're just being human right now, and you're going to do stuff that humans do because we don't know any better. But anyway, you got to align yourself with win-win scenarios. And if you come across a client for whom you don't feel that it's a win for them, step aside. Say, you know what? You're not ready for this, or it doesn't feel right for you to do this. And you got to practice doing it and let go of the sale, so to speak. Loving your clients is huge. And when you really do, it's fun. And I don't need any payoff from anybody because I love you and it's fun. That's enough for me. And if you're thriving, that's awesome. I love that. And if you no longer need to be a part of, what we're doing here as an example, that's totally fine, because you're going to go flourish in your own pool of happiness and your own passion in life. And a great question to ask, and we're going to get into why this is powerful, is anytime you have a question coming up or a decision to make, if you align yourself with a question like, what would love do? And I like to personify love, because love you can totally personify love. It's a level of consciousness. You're like, hey, what would love do in this situation? And kind of sit back with it. And when I ask that, I get answers to it. And some of them are old beliefs and emotions coming up for me, and it's not fun. But I know that I asked for it, but they're kind of easy to deal with. So that's a powerful question to ask while you're building your business, is what would love do in this situation? Another way to attract high-ticket clients is to familiarize yourself with truth and power and consciousness, which is what we're going to do right now. Again, it's a little repeat of last week's webinar. And align yourself with higher consciousness. So let me just share my screen here really quick. Hold on. Share the screen. Share the screen, and we're going to. All right. So I would like to ask this: what do you think your biggest obstacles to being successful are? Who would like to chime in on that? I can't unmute you guys. You have to unmute yourself, please. Anyone want to chime in on that? What you think your biggest obstacles to being successful are? Anyone want to chime in?
My monkey mind.
Yeah, that's right. What's that monkey mind doing all the time?
It's telling me that you're not good enough. You can't do it. It's too big. You don't have what it takes to make this happen. You don't deserve for this to happen. Blah, 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 blah.
That's your biggest obstacle right there, betraying yourself. We spoke about this last week. So what are your keys to success then? If you want to attract high-ticket clients, you need to get crystal clear on who you are, what you stand for, and what transformational results you deliver your ideal clients. A great place to start is with understanding levels of consciousness, what level of consciousness you may be at on some of these issues, like what Deborah is talking about. Feeling you're not good enough is at a level of consciousness where there is no power for you to succeed. There's no power and support there at all, okay? So we're going to go through these levels again so you understand how they work in your life. So I've spoken of the map of consciousness, which is developed by Dr. David Hawkins, who is a renowned psychiatrist and spiritually enlightened teacher at the highest level. So the map of consciousness is a scale of 0 to 1,000, where 1,000 is the highest state of consciousness a human being can attain and still remain in the body. And it's on the map of consciousness, it's 10 to the 1,000th power. Okay, Jesus, the Buddha, all great avatars throughout history calibrated at this level. It's rare to have someone at this level on the planet, maybe one on the planet at a time, if that. And last calibration, there were 22 people above the level of 600. So the ego mind likes to think that it's at high levels, and it's highly unlikely that any of you listening to this are at that level, because it's a very different experience. And you don't need to sit around watching videos when you're at 600 or above. I can assure you of that. Which is not to demean anybody for watching videos whatsoever. It's a very different dimension. So, the ego mind loves every negatively oriented feeling. That's where it lives. Okay? Not good enough. Fear and grief and guilt and shame. The more you hang out in those fields of consciousness, the worse it gets. So if you find yourself feeling this way, you've got to let go of that feeling. You can't ignore it, though. You need it to come up, and you got to let go of it so that you can get out of this area. All right? This is where you want to be hanging out. You got to be courageous about the truth of your feelings, and just allow them to come up and be felt, and then understand that they don't mean what you think they mean. It's just the mind is searching for meaning and giving you thoughts that'll help you with the meaning that are not true. And everything that I'm telling you has been calibrated as true. This is the truth of what's going on in our own consciousness. I'm not making it up. I'm going based on research and understanding. So you need to get your negative feelings about yourself and doubts about yourself out of the way. And we went through that last week with a process that Dr. Hawkins goes through in his book called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender, how you let go of all those negative emotions that are coming up and not buy into them. You can feel them and express them, and you may not enjoy the process, but realize it just needs to, it's like letting air out of a tire that's just, or a balloon that's ready to pop. You got to let the air out. And you've got to be working up in this level to get into confidence and win-win situations and loving your clients and who you want to help. So every one of these levels is an impersonal attractor field. God is not judging you. If you feel like God doesn't love you and you deserve shame and blame and poverty and you're not good enough, the levels of consciousness that are true would not agree with you. You're choosing to believe that. You're choosing to live in fear and guilt and shame and not good enough. That's your choice. And that's what I'm talking about, these fields, these impersonal attractor fields. So when you choose on a consistent basis to be angry, those attractor fields are bringing in more reasons for you to be angry. And you got to realize that that's what's going on. God's, life is giving you what you're asking for in these fields of consciousness. And this is just part of creation. This is part of having contrast in life and choosing, where you want to hang out. This is what free will is. If you ask me, it's just another way to look at free will. You got to choose to stop disparaging yourself in order to align with higher paying clients, for as one example, or just a successful business. So I don't want to go into all of this because it's too much detail. But I want to, let's see, I don't need this. Okay. So when you get into higher consciousness, like at 300, you start to really affect people around you. And if you want to change the world, this is enough. You have a consciousness level at about 300. You're helping people. You're willing and accepting and loving. Let's go back to what that is, right? And most of us watching this video are probably between 250 to 350 in general. But we all have issues that are calibrating lower that are causing problems in your life. And this is where you have to take a look. Where am I having problems in my life? And what's the feeling behind it? And you got to bring it up and let it go. And this is a great prayer to say, I am willing to accept I have a feeling about myself that isn't true. God, life, divinity, whoever you want to call on, Buddha, Jesus, help me to see what that is. And then when you have the feeling come up, you got to say, oh, this is what I asked for. How can I get rid of it? So I want to address, I don't really want to go into all of this again because I'll share the link in this below this video to this conversation about the map of consciousness. So I want to talk about Oprah. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. And I want to talk about Oprah because her program, the Oprah Winfrey Show, calibrated at 504 on the map of consciousness, which is at the level of love. And it's at the level of love, period. All right. So Oprah is a personal brand, clearly. She's established herself, and I want you guys to contribute here. I'm going to unmute you all. Tell me what you think, what does Oprah stand for? Marie, do you know? Have one word that Oprah stands for?
You mean Oprah the person?
Oprah the person, yeah.
She does stand for, she does love people, and she does stand to birth everyone like hurt themselves, I guess. I mean, be their best that they can be. Encourages people to do that.
Yes. And what do you feel her show represented?
Someone has a TV on or a radio or something?
I think it was John. I just muted him.
Okay.
All right, let me mute Barbara. Who the heck's got a TV on?
I live alone and there's nothing going on in my house right now.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna mute all and then hold on. Go ahead, Marie, continue. What do you think her show represents?
It represented, well, she had different issues come on her show, and she was trying to help people discover, you know, things in their lives she was trying to encourage people. It was always an encouraging thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Inviting them to go one step higher.
Okay, exactly. So courage is the first level of consciousness that gets you into the upward movement. And that's all she had to do, is encourage people to get out of the pride and the anger and the fear and the desire and move into courage. And that's all that most of us really have to do if you're dealing with people that are suffering from lower consciousness on a particular issue. Okay, Cheryl, I want you to tell us what your feeling is on Oprah.
I love Oprah. I think she's all about love, strength, and courage, just as you mentioned. I think she helps people find their own voice, and she definitely empowers all of us that we can make a change on an individual level.
Yeah. And what about her show? So her show is same thing.
Yeah, I think what her show did was bring kindness to the television set. You know, she talks a lot about bringing kindness and healing and really spirit. You know, she did have for a while that theme of what your spirit is, or finding your spirit. So I think she does try to find, I think what Oprah also does is she helps find a well-roundedness of all of us, a balance. She tries to help us get into balance or get into alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, of higher truth.
Yes. She has interviewed Dr. Hawkins, by the way.
Oh.
Which you can Google and you'll find it on YouTube. All right. Deborah, I know you are a fan of Ms. Winfrey.
Yeah, and I will tell you that my attendance at her Live Your Best Life tour in Atlanta was actually pivotal for me and life-changing. And the thing that I really felt is she brings together the tools and the people and the opportunities. She places them in front of you for you to take advantage of it and raise your level of awareness and consciousness and all of that stuff. And she's just a master at creating that community and bringing people together to do that for us.
Yes. So the reason I wanted to bring her in here is I want to go back to sharing the screen real quick. And I want to look at Oprah has high ticket paying clients. Who are her clients? Anyone want to chime in on who Oprah's clients are? Big sponsors, right? Advertising agencies. She is powerful because she leads with love and courage. She's influencing a lot of people here like this. Her show is counterbalancing 750,000 people in negativity, right? And more because she's reaching the world. So maybe every show she's counterbalancing the negativity of everyone that's watching that show. That's pretty huge. This is by the numbers the individual. I don't know that Oprah's at 500. It's possible, but it's a little difficult to be in the world the way she is at that level. Because I've been there, I know what it feels like. It's very different. You can't function when you're in the presence of divinity and joy like that level brings. So if her show is at 500, this is where I'm suggesting you guys get familiar with your numbers. Understand where your consciousness is at. On low, if you're experiencing something you don't want in your life, you got to look at that. You got to bring up the feelings behind it. Because this is how you're going to come into alignment with attracting high ticket clients. You can't be hanging out here. You don't want to hang out here. You don't want to get stuck here. And if you feel yourself in a downward, negatively oriented spin, you got to get help getting out of it. Because you don't want to get stuck here like I did. For a long time, I've been stuck here on issues which have not been helpful. But, you know, the silver lining is I understand this better and I can teach you guys about it. So let's get back to unsharing the screen. Oh, shoot. Here we go. So I'm really kind of gung-ho on this whole personal branding exercise whenever you're ready to do it for yourself. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm here to offer powerful transformation when you're ready to get clear on who you are, what you stand for, what transformational services you're going to offer, how are they win-win, how are you going to price them. Understanding where you are on your own level of consciousness is what personal branding exercise is going to help you do. And it's going to put you in alignment with your truth. And when you get to that truth, I'm like, I felt it like a beam of light coming through me the other day, like a pillar, not just a little beam. It was like a pillar of, whoa, alignment. And when you feel that, everything is coming, you know, is falling into place. So let me check the chat box here. Okay, Lynn, okay. Early interview with Oprah on 60 Minutes. What's this? Oh. Rita said she shared a link here. I guess everyone can see it. An early interview where she exudes self-confidence. Sense of self is absolutely key. And when I started to take inventory of my life and myself and who I am and what I do, my sense of self skyrocketed. Big time. And then when you kind of go to this personal branding thing, you're setting yourself apart, you're differentiating yourself because you are so unique and then you are the snowflake of your life, of this life. And you have something of value to share. I mean, this is... I've always known, you know, God, divinity, life. I call God life now just to keep it kind of neutral. I knew life, like life knows how to balance out everything that we need. And he's going to put it in each one of our DNAs. Like, you know, someone who loves to be, I know the Buddha of trash collecting. I kid you not. He is the Buddha of trash collecting. He was sent here. His DNA was to be... He knows all about recycling, trash, the whole 9 yards. He's hugely successful. And I'm like, you know what? We're all sent here to be who we are. So let's stop not doing that and get aligned with it. And that's how you start attracting high-ticket clients. Going through a formal workshop of branding or doing it. You got to do it with someone else too, I think. You got to have reflection. You got to have people hear you and then speak back. You know, you're going to tell me who you are, what you stand for, and we're going to listen to it. And we're like, that doesn't sound true. Or it does. We're like, bingo, that's it. I believe you, right? When truth is truth, it rings true and it's like clear. Wow. That's what happens going through this exercise. So that's all I wanted to share today. Let me look at my notes here. I'm glad we talk about Oprah. If you align with love, you're asking for serious empowerment. You're letting life. This is what Law of Attraction's about. This is what Jerry and Abraham and Esther talk about. You align everything that you do with love. Get out of the way. Watch it happen, right? Oprah did. Look at her. You don't have to be Oprah. And you're not Oprah. You're your own little snowflake of you. But that's what I felt 2 years ago. I met a personal branding coach. She's one of my networking leaders. And she told me about this and the light went on. I'm like, oh, that's what's missing. I didn't get clear on who I am, what I stand for, anything, because I'm all out here. I'm all out here trying to be out here instead of starting within. And Deborah, you're working within right now. You're building that foundation. That's why this is a worthy investment. It's a hugely worthy investment to build the foundation of you first, the roots of that tree, the trunk of the tree. Then the leaves can come out and have, dogwood blossoms on it, not just leaves, right? So that's my little trumpeter of truth webinar for the day. Anyone have questions before we go? Or
Liz, one thing I wanted to say, my experience of Oprah was that she did have love. She sincerely cared about her audience. And I don't know that a lot of people go on the air with that feeling. I think that they have their own agenda. They want to be there for a different purpose. But the other piece is that she was pretty genuine. She didn't really hold back. I mean, I see a lot of interviewers ask questions, but it doesn't look like their heart and soul is really there. And so much of the time, we witnessed a human interaction on television, and it's not a humanizing institution. And somehow she brought that to the screen, and a lot of people connected with that from their heart space and something that wasn't just a mental process.
Yeah. So when people get aligned with who they are, they can't help but be honest and genuine and true. So, and all of you are all that already. But if you want to really develop your company or your visibility at a higher level, you got to get clear on how you communicate, visuals that you use, how you show up everywhere, networking, right? There was a great example I saw. Does anyone here watch HGTV and Fixer Upper? It's a cute couple, Johanna and Chip Gaines, right? Mm-hmm. So one aspect of personal branding is what you look like. Do you keep your hair, Cheryl's right out of bed. It's okay, Cheryl. You're in good company. But when she shows up to her healing prayer circle, she's polished. She's beautiful, right? And you got to be aware that you've got to show up. It's a mixed message if you show up looking like a bum. If you're a spiritual healer and you show up looking like you just rolled out of bed and you have a hangover, that's like a mixed message as an extreme example. But it doesn't mean you have to be a fashionista. You have to be who you are. And a fashionista would be like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City, right? She was a fashionista, that one. Killer clothes and shoes, the whole 9 yards. But Johanna Gaines, her archetype is clearly artist, but she's also the everyday person. And I noticed that she's licensing rugs and pillows at Pier 1. So she has her rugs and pillows are at Pier 1 with a picture of her on the hang tag. And she's wearing jeans and a crisp white shirt. She's dressing the part, right? And her part is to fix up homes and make them beautiful. She's not playing a fashionista because that's not connecting to her audience. And to show up that way would be a mixed message. So you got to keep that in mind. Well, how you appear, you want it to feel genuine to you. And for me, being a marketing person, I feel like I should show up in a suit and tie. I'm like, that's not me. I don't want to do that. I'm a little bit of a fashionista and an everyday gal. And I'm an artist, really. So anyway, just a little point on that. John, I was going to ask you about the Oprah thing, but it looked like you'd left the building earlier. Marie, yes, my dear. Unmute you. Hold on.
I wanted to ask you, you were saying to know your archetype, and I took the 2 tests, and they did, kind of show me a similar thing. But where do we get the definitions of what those things are?
You could check out, I went to the library and got books on archetypes.
Okay.
And the archetypes.com one gave a great PDF to download if you go that much further. So if you go back to archetypes.com and do the test, it's going to give you, maybe email you the results in a PDF or deliver it right away. And I downloaded it. And it gives you some great outlines of the basics, like the words you'd use, your shadow side, your strong side, lots of different images that archetype would use. I'm reading What Archetype Are You by Carolyn Myss right now. And she outlines like the 12 master archetypes, because there's, I just got a great archetype for creatives like me book that has 90 archetypes for branding purposes, because you can get really fine-tuned on your messaging when you align with the perfect archetype.
And do they use all these same verbiage, like the archetype names? Do they all kind of use the same ones?
They do. It's when you go into families, like the alchemist is a family of archetypes. I think the magician is in that family. It's like transformational people.
Okay.
Visionaries could fall under that. They mix in between.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read the description, you'll recognize it when you read it.
Okay.
So what was yours, Marie?
I don't remember exactly. It's in my drawer if you want me to go get it. But I know healer, something about being a healer or a nurturer or whatever. And the funny thing is I've been getting lawyers calling me to take on their clients that have child custody cases. They're not interested in healing. They just want to get their kid visits with kids or custody of their kids. So I'm finding that I really want to work with people who want to get, have some transformational changes made in them, and not just, so that's helping me know, no, I'm not taking those clients because they're not coming for the right reason that I am here for.
Okay. So you need to write down, Marie, what you want, like put it in writing.
Yeah.
Get clear on who you are, what you stand for, and what results you want to deliver, and get clear on who that client is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And don't focus on that, on what you don't want. Just say, okay, thank you for showing me, but what's going on is you're sending out mixed signals, right? Vibrationally. That's what's going on when you get all these different types showing up.
Yeah.
And when I look at my network of members, I'm getting aligned.
Mm-hmm.
If I look at my clients, I'm like, I love them all. They all have integrity. They all have tremendous value. I'm like, whoa, cool.
Well, all of my clients too, except for that little category that's starting to creep in.
Okay. Yeah. So just, write down what you want to help people with and get clear on it and sit with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else before we vamoose?
I guess the one question that I have in that same situation, I don't have particular, but I do have people that are coming to ask for things that aren't necessarily in my wheelhouse. And so then do I want to help everybody if I can. Do I try to help them, or do I just tell them, you know what, I'm not the best person to help you?
Well, ask them what they want first. And if it can help build your confidence and your own way of being, yes. But you just gotta be discerning. Is it gonna be, well, what would love do, right? What would love do? And then say, is this a win-win for both of us? Got to look at the situation.
Okay.
In answer to that, I would also say, if you've really connected with your client and you don't have the specific training or knowledge, but you do have a feel that what you can offer will be supportive or serve them, I think if you're honest with that and then really give it your best, it can work. When I was in private practice, I had people who were medically referred to me with an endocrine disorder, and I had never worked with that or knew that, and I was honest about that, but I said, this is intuitively what I think will work. It was an approach that I hadn't been trained to use, but felt it could, and it actually was very successful. And I think it was it was a combination of me being honest, but really caring, and not necessarily trying to just be overly confident or not be careful with what their needs were and how I was going to represent myself. So if you think the relationship is going to be healing and you may not have specific knowledge, I think that you should, consider having that relationship and let that be therapeutic and kind of feel your way through it. Just be careful that you don't abuse them financially.
Right. Okay.
That
opens it up for me. Thank you.
John, remind me again, tell us what you used to do.
Well, for 25 years, I had a private practice, and it started with medical referrals for people who had stress-related disorders, and I used biofeedback and hypnosis and stress management techniques to help either minimize or eliminate the symptoms that they had. And I had a stable of doctors who said, I can't fix this with surgery or medicine. Can you take this person who's anxious and do something with them? I volunteered to sit with them and hold their hand and connect with them and try to empower them and give them some control over their lives. And for me, using my intuition, which has been kind of a gift, it worked really well in a lot of cases where other people weren't getting results from more traditional approaches.
Cool. Thank you, John. All right. We're going to wrap it up so you guys can go about your day. Next week is the Love Advantage Coach, Macy Mazzarato. And then we're going to do our holiday quotes. Cheryl, and you want to lead another meditation? Did you hear that at the beginning? We're going to do the holiday quote thing next week?
Yes, I did hear that. That'd be great.
And we'll share a book after. If you guys want to bring one book, we'll do a book review video too. That would be fun, and see how those people, I think, might like what we're doing here. All right. Farewell, everyone. John, hopefully we'll see you next week. We'd love to have you a part again. And you can learn from the Love Coach how to attract your ideal mate. Bye, everyone.